Now, in this program, any resemblance between the people you see on the screen and real living people is purely intentional. Because, in fact, they are real, and it's our pleasure to catch them in the act of being themselves.
Hey folks, Rogue Nation here with you today. We got a video coming to us that is just an epic thrashing of a school board, and it leads to a lawsuit. So this video comes to us from Fat Boy News Network, and I of course will link the original video in the description. And this gentleman is a resident here of this local township or whatever, and he's addressing the school board, and it's epic. And they cut him off, and him and a couple other people end up suing the school district for violations of their free speech. So at the end of the video, we'll take a look at that lawsuit, and we'll see what the judges had to say about this man standing to sue over just what you see in this video here. So pay close attention to what's being said in this video. It's not very long, and you will see this gentleman standing to sue here. It's an excellent video. We'll get right into it.
Simon Campbell, 1571 Brookfield Road, Lower Makefield Township. I'm a Pensbury School District resident, Pensbury School District taxpayer. I'm also a former member of the Governing Board of Directors, 2009 to 2013. It's nice to see the old faces. I'm here to speak today. I believe, Gary, you said it was item KKK in the agenda book. Well, isn't that just a perfect summation of what it is I'm here to talk about? KKK. Your proposed new school board policy, seeking once again to limit the constitutionally protected speech of American citizens. Now, when I sat on this school board, I believe some of you old-timers might remember this. A union guy spoke at public comment for 5 minutes and ripped me a new one. He called me the bastard child of Margaret Thatcher. And I sat there and I said to myself, okay, fair enough, welcome to America. He considers me a bastard because I'm in the government. His logic is sound. Now, what happened was the superintendent and the school solicitor at the time freaked out, and they didn't put the tape online the next day. And I called them up and I said, get the tape online now before we get sued for censorship. I yelled at the solicitor and I asked him what law school he went to, because it was clearly constitutionally protected rhetorical hyperbole. I can cite the case if you'd like. And I said to Paul Long, the superintendent at the time, don't ever cut the tape again, Paul. And by the way, bastard child of Margaret Thatcher, I took it as a compliment. Now, you snowflakes apparently have a bigger problem with public comment. It seems to me that you think you can supersede the United States Constitution. Well, I've got news for you, School Board President Benito Mussolini. Your power does not supersede that of the US Constitution and the First Amendment rights of the citizens of this great nation. Let's be very, very clear who has the power.
Mr.
It is
Campbell,
not government policy. Do not warn me or do not interrupt my time.
That if you
interrupt my
make
time,
personal insults like that again, or if you personally direct your comments, you will be asked to step away from the podium.
I'm going to quote to you, solicitor.
Make your comments, but do not do name calling like you just did.
This is my comment, not your comment. I'm quoting to you now from the United States Supreme Court 1964 case, New York Times versus Sullivan. This is constitutional case law in this country, and I'm quoting you from the US Supreme Court. The judges wrote that this nation is founded on the, quote, profound national commitment to the principle that debate on public issues shall be uninhibited, robust, and wide open, and that it may well include vehement, caustic, and sometimes unpleasantly sharp attacks on government and public officials. That's constitutional case law in this nation. I don't have to be nice to you. Nobody behind me has to be nice to you. If you don't like living in the United States of America, then you can all move to Russia, Cuba, or China. This is the First Amendment. And I will caution you, solicitor, There is a video camera to my left. If you edit this tape, then you're going to have a big legal problem on your hands, because my right to critique your fascism, which is what this is constitutionally protected. There are emails, public record emails, in which the Director of Equity is lobbying and advocating for public comment to be censored in this school district. And you know what? You know what? Lobbying for it, advocating for it. We've got the school board president saying she'll do better at hitting the mute button in blatant violation of the Constitution. For her lobbying and her advocacy of unconstitutional censorship, I want you, the school board, to terminate the employment of Dr. Charissa Gibson with immediate effect. And after you've terminated her employment, I want all of you to tender your resignations for hating on this country. We have a God-given constitutional right to critique you, and we can speak in any lawful tone that we see fit. And don't go looking around, Benito, because this is the United States of America. You have a good... one more thing. I'm going to make a verbal request right now for an unedited copy of the tape. So if any of you delete it, you're going to have a big legal problem. Good night.
Okay, so we all saw the video. Awesome speech. Dude just really thrashed them. And like I said, they ended up filing a lawsuit over the school board's violation of free speech. There's a couple of different claims here. I will include the link for this case also in the description so you can read over it yourself. It's Douglas Marshall versus Peter Amuso. It's in the Eastern District of Pennsylvania. But what the court said as far as Mr. Campbell's standing, it says, lastly, defendants argued that without plausible allegations of actual harm, Mr. Campbell does not establish standing to participate in this lawsuit as a plaintiff. They argue that Mr. Campbell was allowed to finish speaking at the June 2021 meeting, that's the video we just watched, so he can allege only conjectural or speculative harm. But enforcement of an unconstitutional speech policy completes a First Amendment violation. It says a plaintiff satisfies the injury in fact requirement where he alleges an intention to engage in a course of conduct arguably affected with a constitutional interest, but proscribed by a policy, and there exists a credible threat of persecution thereunder. It says here the complaint alleged that Mr. Clark loudly interrupted and began speaking over Mr. Campbell's June 17, 2022 comment. I believe it's 2021 is when the meeting was. Citing policy 903, Mr. Clark specifically interrupted Mr. Campbell to inform him of his infringement of the policies by making personally directed comments. This enforcement of the alleged unconstitutional speech policies reduced Mr. Campbell's speech time. The complaint also alleges that Mr. Campbell's speech has been chilled along with that of the other plaintiffs, and although they intend to continue to speak at meetings, the threat of enforcement has led to self-censorship as to the content of that speech. This too provides Mr. Campbell standing. Therefore, the court will not dismiss Mr. Campbell's claims for lack of standing. So definitely interesting, guys. You saw the video. This is the, part of the lawsuit where the court agrees that Mr. Campbell was violated there, and you saw it, right? So violations can happen just that quick with very little notice, right? So thanks for watching, guys, and we will get back with you soon. Thanks.
You keep lying when you ought to be truthin'. And you keep losing when you ought to not bet. You